Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our virtual town hall talking about small businesses. And thank you so much for everybody for tuning in and interacting with our office about issues that relate to small businesses. 222-2371. That's our number. And of course, you can email us during the program, and we'll get back to you, or you can text during the program any questions you might have of commerce or the Department of Business Regulation or Department of Labor Training with unemployment and the SBA questions as well. We'll have our crew of business owners on today to kind of give you an update on the Small Business Alliance, the Small Business Coalition, and I ask everybody share the program, share it out more. The more people hear about it, the better. We're going to be off, and of course continue to let people know that wearing the masks is very important. Wearing the masks, washing the hands, social distancing, very important, not only reopening our economy, but also reopening our schools and getting us back to a spot where we're going to have, a normal type of business activity and helping our small businesses in particular. I would say, as I'm talking about on every beginning of every program, besides the reminder about the importance of wearing your masks, I got a purple one today. Kind of matches my tie. If you notice my tie, this is a Boys and Girls Club tie. I was happy to be at a groundbreaking ceremony in Woonsocket, where there's an expansion of the Northern Rhode Island Boys and Girls Club. My dad happened to be a founder of the club, and back in the 50s. So I was a board member, president, member of the club, coached in the system. But so I got that there. Although purple does remind us of the work we're doing with Alzheimer's, and we're certainly going to be continuing to talk about that. But education. Let's talk about education. This is a priority in our state, and we know that our education has been interrupted by the COVID and the health crisis. What are we going to do about it? That's the question. So I'm going to keep on talking about the things that we're working on that we feel as though that should be open to consideration. One of the things that we got to be aware of is that it doesn't matter, and I've repeated this many, many times. It doesn't matter whether you're from a high-income household, low-income, moderate income. It doesn't matter if you're a minority, non-minority. It doesn't matter if you're going to a public school, a private school, charter school, a Mayoral Academy, whether you're even attending school outside the state of Rhode Island. We have a number of hours that are being lost to protect the health of our families in the state. But the fact is that unless we do a catch-up on those hours, then long-term, the futures of the boys and girls that go to our schools, the boys and girls that attend the Boys and Girls Clubs that have been heavily involved in helping young people for many, many years, they're not going to reach their potential. They don't reach their potential, their incomes are impacted. So we got to figure out a way to address that. One of the things that I did as a mayor, I opened up a municipal education office, the Mayor's Office for Children, Youth, and Learning in Cumberland. We've been running programs 52 weeks out of the year, education programs. It's a model that we should be looking at and try to get all 39 cities and towns to have a version of a municipal education office in this time frame to pick up the lost hours, hundreds and hundreds of lost hours of learning time. We got to figure out closing the gap. It's not going to happen with our district schools. They're going, our public schools. They're going to have enough challenges just to meet what's going on right now, and to add in those extra hours right now is going to be a virtually impossible task. We need to support our schools in a way with these municipal education offices. So that's my message. Anybody who's interested in the education issue, we're going to use our community conversation on Wednesday evenings to really start addressing the education and the importance of that, and the direct connection between outcomes in our schools and our outcomes in our families' income, earning power. So let's get moving right away. I know that we have Secretary Pryor on again, Stephen Pryor. Please bring Stephen on, Ben. Thank you, Stephen. You've had a busy week. I know you have, and thank you so much for being here and the work that you're doing. One of the things that we've talked about is how do we get the $50 million out as quickly as we can? You've explained how you've opened up the process a little bit, but maybe you could just speak to that. our goal is to get the 50 million out, so to help these small businesses. How are we going to do that?
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It's great to be with you. I'll give a program update, and then let's talk about all the ways that hopefully the viewers of this show, the viewers who join regularly, can help us get the word out. I'm pleased to report that we've had over 1,000 Restore Rhode Island small business grants to date, received or payments being made, with grants totaling around $9 million. That's terrific to see 1,000 businesses across Rhode Island being helped. Over $1.5 million of that total $9 million, Lieutenant Governor, is for minority-owned businesses. So that's about 17%. That's a very healthy percentage, and we're really pleased that Black and Latino businesses are responding and are receiving the grants that they are eligible for. And we're grateful to our partners with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Rhode Island Black Business Association, among multiple partners, for that effort, that very successful effort. Now, Lieutenant Governor, there have been over 500 new applicants since the program expanded eligibility last week. So really excited to see that, and we've got to keep it going. As you say, there's $50 million available, and we're nearing the $10 million mark, so there's plenty left. I would ask businesses who are paying attention, first of all, if you haven't given it a try, we've streamlined the process. I'm going to talk even more about that. But if you think you might be eligible, you should hop on the commerceri.com website and see if you are and apply. But if you have done it, you've gotten a grant, please help us get the word out. You're probably receiving, anyone on Facebook is probably receiving a pop-up ad from us that shows how to apply for the program, Restore RI, or go on the Commerce RI Facebook page. If you could forward on our postings and take note of it, send it around to your networks, or anything else you want to do, make up your own posting. Let us know how we can help you. Getting the word out is really important. Let me just review, Lieutenant Governor, the changes that were made last week, because I know most people tune in all the time, but not everyone may have been on last week per se. So sole proprietors without employees, 0 employee sole proprietors, are now eligible for this program. Other forms of business with 0 employees are also eligible for this program. So if you meet that description and you thought you couldn't apply, you were not eligible before, you can apply now. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, in the small business spectrum, if you have between 20 and 50 employees, between 20 and 50 FTEs, you are now eligible. It used to be just 1 to 20. Now it's 0 to 50. So please apply if you're in that range. We also streamlined the grant calculation process and made it easier. And very specifically, we've gotten some feedback that for some businesses, you had to hit the 50% revenue loss mark. Now you are eligible even if you only suffered the 30%. That's a significant amount. If you had 30% revenue loss in any given month-to-month comparison since the pandemic started, if you had 30% revenue loss, you're in. So there are fewer documents to upload. So I want to give you that update. And with your permission, Lieutenant Governor, a quick additional note. You've been helping out with this as well. We've launched a Take It Outside campaign statewide. Commerce, working with our sister and brother agencies in the state government and with a lot of advocates out there, have been promoting the safety of doing business outdoors and doing any activities outdoors. It's much safer outside during the pandemic. The governor announced $1 million in funding to assist businesses. I just want to give a shout out. The Rhode Island Hospitality Association, Lieutenant Governor, started a companion campaign under this umbrella called Bring Your Own Blanket, BYOB. Bring your own blanket to a restaurant, eat outdoors, be safer, support local small businesses in Rhode Island, keep our wonderful restaurant scene alive. That's so much part of our state. And I want to give another shout out specifically to the Guild, the Pawtucket-based brewery and bar known as the Guild. They set up a pop-up beer garden in the Providence Innovation and Design District Park. It was fantastic. I was out there myself. They had a couple trucks and some seating. It was very clean, very safe, very spaced. People wore their masks when they entered. Everyone was paying attention to the rules, and it's another way to keep it outside. So we're so thankful to all the businesses that are making that happen, keeping itself, and through that innovation, keeping commerce going, keeping their own businesses afloat. So it's not just about the grants. It's very much about the grants, but it's not just about the grants. We have to stay creative in helping businesses figure out how to survive and thrive despite the pandemic. So thank you again for this forum, Lieutenant Governor. And I think the most important point is the point you led with. Please help us get the word out. There is money left. The grants are still available. If you know some businesses that you're not sure if they've applied, if you could shoot them a note, send them a text, even give them a call, we'd really appreciate it.
Thanks, Secretary. And I asked you a question earlier because we had someone a little confused because they received an amortization schedule on their grant, which we're very pleased that that's one of the new businesses that actually applied. They let me know that the process was significantly simpler for their husband's business than it was a few weeks ago when they applied for their business. But just give everybody an explanation of why they're seeing an amortization schedule on these approvals.
Absolutely. First of all, there is a quote that is often attributed to Mark Twain. I'm told he may never have said it, but that's what happens sometimes. There's a quote that was attributed to Mark Twain, and the story goes that he was writing a letter and he had to write it in a rush, and it ended up being pretty long. And the quote that's attributed to him is, "If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter." And I will say, Lieutenant Governor, with the benefit of time here, we've gone through every single question that we're asking of a business, and we've tested it with the regulators and the attorneys, and we've tried to get the questions in a way that they are the most comprehensible. So we've gotten the process down to the bare minimum that we can ask, and it's gotten faster, it's gotten easier. There are fewer requirements in the end. So we encourage businesses to give it a try, and we're glad that we had a little bit more time to write that shorter letter. I want to answer the amortization table question. So when we built this application process, we actually built it on a digital platform originally designed for the federal PPP program. We knew that businesses were familiar with the PPP program. We knew that this platform had delivered billions of dollars of financing in one form or another, loans convertible to grants through the PPP program. The amortization function on the website, on the digital platform, just can't be eliminated. There are notations in the instructions and on the site saying this, but it's very understandable that people will be confused. Ignore it. It shows up because PPP required it. We tried to blank out everything we could using our tech team, but that still shows. It's just irrelevant. Just ignore it, and you'll be fine. So nothing about that. If you have any questions that come up, why is this happening? How do I do this? I can't figure out how to calculate that. We have Zoom office hours coming up, Lieutenant Governor, this Thursday, 4 p.m., and Friday at 12 p.m., 4 p.m. and 12 p.m. Check out the Commerce RI Facebook page, and you can sign up. We've had, in the last week, probably 75 businesses sign up for office hours to get some one-on-one or group help. We sometimes cluster businesses, and we answer questions together. Sometimes it's one-on-one. We probably had 75 businesses use that particular service. Please keep using it.
Yeah, so bottom line on the amortization schedule, disregard it. It's a grant, and that's all you need to know. The business need to know it's a grant. It's not a loan. So that's good to clarify. And then the other issues, the grants are important. Get the $50 million out. But if you speak a little bit about, because I can tell you that the calls that I'm having offline, still having meetings on Monday mornings at 11 with a core group of businesses in the coalition. The pressure is mounting. There's no question in my mind that it is. And I know the grants, we focused on the grants. Let's get the $50 million out. That's the whole deal. But what are some of the other things? Because we got to give these businesses as much resources as we can. And I know that you are managing some other activity in your office to help the small businesses. Can you just give a real quick, overline, and so that we encourage people to be contacting your office, our office, so that if they got their backs against the wall, which we know more and more are going to have it, Stefan, and again, that's one of the reasons I think we still should be looking at loan strategies, but that's another day. But today, what can we tell these businesses that are really got the pressure on, and they're not willing to close their shop, but they are seeing some problems, and we do want to provide them whatever resources we have. So give us a little overview of the type of things that you would encourage the small businesses to do.
So when it comes to non-financial, and then I'll get to more financial. When it comes to non-financial assistance, we have a number of partners who are technical assistance partners who can help a business just figure things out. And we're going to be doing more around that in the coming days and weeks, as a matter of fact. But a number of our partners can help businesses just access technical expertise as well as resources to solve problems. And I would point to certainly the Hospitality Association. If you're a restaurant or if you're a hotel or you're a caterer, I would point to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Rhode Island Black Business Association for the work that we're doing, especially around these grants, but they have a broader array of services. And over the coming days and weeks, Lieutenant Governor, we actually have probably a dozen partners who are lined up and gearing up. So we'll provide more information. My fundamental suggestion on that point would be, if you're trying to problem solve, call 521-HELP. Now, if you're already a frequent contact of the Hospitality Association, fantastic, talk with them. You know them well. But if you just don't know where to go and you want try to sort it out, call 401-521-HELP, and Commerce will get back to you and troubleshoot with you. And we'll help you access our partners. On the financial front, keep in mind we do have small business loans through what we call the Small Business Assistance Program, or SBAP, which is a small business loan program that was set up by the Raimondo administration. When we came to office, there was no loan function at all for small businesses. And we have loan partners who can help to supplement what you are obtaining in the way of grants if you are seeking loans. And those are available now. Again, my recommendation would be call 521-HELP and tell us what your challenge is, what you're seeking, and we will help you. The last thing I'll say once again, Lieutenant Governor, is if you're trying to do business outdoors, if you are a restaurant trying to expand outdoor seating or install heat lamps, or if you're a gym trying to do outdoor classes, or if you're a retail store trying to join a flea market or a bazaar outdoors or get one going, also contact 521-HELP, or look for, in the coming week, we're going to be making the grants out of that pool of funds that the governor has allocated. So these intermediary organizations, these associations and chambers of commerce, can help you get those things done.
Yeah, thank you for that, Stefan. And we're encouraging people that whatever direction you want to go to Commerce, go to Hospitality, go to the rismallbusiness.org site, where we have listed all of these links. So that's a one-stop shop strategy, just like Commerce has. But wherever you need to go, we encourage you to seek out that help, because I've been doing a great deal of reading now what other states are doing and repositioning and the role that online stuff is going to have for the next several months. As long as we don't have the vaccine, we're going to have the mask. As long as we don't have the vaccine, we're going to have the mask. So there you go. Yeah, I like that one. And then also we're going to reach out to expertise. Right now we're researching, Stephen, we're reaching what the milder winter climates do to extend their seasons. Maryland, Virginia, and we're in contact with an expert in terms of how to heat through infrared heaters, how to heat outside areas where you're heating the bodies, you're heating the furniture, not the air. Trying to figure out ways that we can come up with creative avenues. And so anybody who's got ideas out there, please share them, because there's no monopoly on the ideas. We need to make sure we're using every potential resource that we have, because I can tell you the pressure is rising and we need to make sure that we're providing whatever help we possibly can. I know your office is doing that.
Very much so. If I can add one last thing before I know you have to move on, Lieutenant Governor, on the take it outside point, if there are even technological ideas like you just described, or simple things that people want to do to extend the season under Take It Outside, we're going to have a round 2 of grants. So stay tuned and be in touch with us. Call 521-HELP. Individual businesses should go through an association, but we can help you find the ones that are applying and getting the dollars, and we can get some of those things done.
Yeah, and that Take It Outside, like you said, we're supporting that with our own Take It Outside program, where we're partnering in with municipal leaders and small businesses, and we'll be in North Smithfield later today, East Providence later in the week. So we're going to continue to provide that information, provide the masks. We're distributing masks that our office had donated to us. And so if you're a community out there, a business, and you want us to come to your community, we've already been to probably a dozen communities. That gives us 27 more to go to while this weather is still out there in a way that we can work through it. So, Ben, do you have a question for the secretary?
I do. Good afternoon, guys. So Carl says, can we ask Secretary Pryor about private pay child care facilities that aren't eligible under CCAP?
Gotcha. We are very interested in understanding which child care centers are not able to apply under the pre-existing program with a sister agency. That does require CCAP, CCAP eligibility, though as we understand it, it doesn't require CCAP participation. That's our understanding. So if there are these individual cases, Lieutenant Governor and Ben, as the Lieutenant Governor knows, please send them our way through the Lieutenant Governor's office. But that's point one. We need to know who you are. If you're not eligible or you believe yourselves not to be, and I believe you that you've checked it out. Number two is we are exploring making yet additional dollars available for child care centers that don't fit existing definitions. We're doing our best to understand, with the help of our sister and brother agencies, what we can do. So that's why we need the information from you. And we are, as we've expanded this program over time, you've seen us do it. When we gain information, we do make moves to expand. So I'm glad you asked the question.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I would just say, Stephen, thanks for taking the call last week with some leaders in the daycare to kind of help clarify the situation. I'm pretty strongly of you. If you're not eligible for that one, I'd love to see them eligible for these grants, so that you can't double dip. But at the same point in time, it'd be great if we opened up, completely the process to every one of our small businesses, including all of our daycares. But I know you're working on it, and I appreciate that. And hopefully we're going to have some good news in that area, within the next few days. Ben, you got something else?
Yeah, I have a couple more. If you have a second, Secretary.
I have maybe two more would be the max.
Absolutely. Once we see the amortization, what is the next step to receive money?
You have to just make sure that your file, so seeing the amortization, that question again, ignore that. An amortization table pertains to a loan. These Restore Rhode Island grants are grants. Ignore that. That does show towards the tail end of your application. Just make sure that everything that has been starred with a little red asterisk, which is required, is in, and submit. And then you'll get an email from CRF, the loan administrator for the grant administrator. Ordinarily, these organizations do loans. The grant administrator for the Restore RI grant program, they'll send you an email that'll specify next steps, if there are any. So that's what you look for. If you have a question, if it's not working, if you're not getting any kind of a response, not getting any kind of an email, a couple things. Check your junk mail or search your email for CRF and make sure that you haven't gotten an email from that provider for us. They're our partner in processing the grants. And also call 521-HELP if that hasn't worked at all, if you don't see anything, or if you can't submit, 521-HELP, and one of our Commerce staff members will get back to you.
Last question, Senator DePalma said, what additional info is needed for child care agencies?
I need to know if you are a child care provider, a business, and if you are of the opinion that you cannot be eligible for the other program, which offers, upwards of $100,000 per child care center. If you believe your center not to be eligible, or you've been declined, we'd like to know who you are so we can take a look at your case and understand what else might be needed.
Great.
And as the Lieutenant Governor knows, we've been actively finding these cases and talking with our fellow state agencies and figuring out if there's a gap to fill, how we can fill it.
Secretary, thank you for being here. Very
Thank you.
helpful, and I'm sure we'll have a busy week, but we'll keep on exchanging thoughts and ideas of how to help these small businesses. I know that your office as well is doing that, and I can tell you, I've told a couple people with the calls that we had last week that you've got a very dedicated staff, and I want to thank them for their work as well.
Very true. I want to specifically give shout outs to Hannah Moore, our chief of staff, and Matt Sheaf, our head of communications and stakeholder outreach, and a broad array of staff members who are just working their hearts out to serve small businesses. Please keep giving us information through this show, through direct contact about how we can help you more.
See you next week.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I don't be bashful out there. We're going to answer our phone. Our office will answer the phone. Our office will answer the email. If there's issues that are there that we can help you with, we'll let you know. If there's issues that we can't help you with, we'll redirect you in an area we believe that you can be helped in. And if on the issues that we just can't help you with, we're going to be honest to you. Because we can't have small business or anybody else out there expecting some help because you're given the impression that your help was coming, when we need to be honest and say, that's not an area we can help you on. Let's shift to this space so that we can figure out a way to provide you with the information that you need to, as a small business owner, and also as anybody that lives in the state that's dealing with any issue out there that is, COVID related. This health crisis is not going away. We need to work our way through it and be smart about it. So, well, we thank the Secretary for being here. Ben, I think that Matt is here, right? Matt's here. Hi, Matt. Oh, I like that. Very good. You're looking good there. You look like you might be like on a ranch out in Texas or something.
I wish.
Hey, before you start into yours things, I just want to tell you that on the fraud issue, and thank you for that. We received a mailing to our house, saying that someone in our household had applied for unemployment, which was not the case. And then we followed up just like anybody else, because if you don't follow up, that could be dangerous to, personally dangerous to your credit. And also it just, we need to track those things down. So thanks for your help. But, just reiterate, because I understand that those mailings are being received all around the state of Rhode Island right now.
Yeah, Governor, that's probably the most pressing thing that we have. They've happened to people across the state, from Westerly to Woonsocket, and people from all walks of life and different occupations. And unfortunately, what it means is that somebody had your information, in this case, one of your family members' information, but it was their name and their social, and they use it to apply for benefits.
Yeah.
That's what makes it incredibly difficult to stop, because what happens, just so everyone knows, you fill out an application for benefits, your name is in the application, your social security number. We run that against a federal database to check the name and the spelling of the name against the social. And if it comes back good, then to us, it looks like a legitimate claimant has put that claim in. That's the very first step. It doesn't mean the claim's going to get approved. We now have several filters that all of these claims go through to check for other things that may lead us to believe that it's a fraudulent claim. The good thing is most of the ones I'm being informed of now have already been auto-stopped by the system. So they go through, it's through artificial intelligence tool, which we train every week. It gets smarter and smarter, and it recognizes patterns, and it puts stops on claims. Unfortunately, we can't prevent the claim from getting submitted. We can just prevent it from getting paid. And so that's what we're trying to do quickly. Sometimes the way that the mail works around here, the mail may get backed up for a day or two, and then a bunch of mail goes out at one time. So we'll see bigger waves. And I talk about it like it's a tide cycle. We see high tide where a lot of these things go out and then it ebbs back for a little while, and then it's going to go up again. The good thing is that our analytics tool, after we put the new system in place to prevent the claims from coming in, has stopped most of the claims. So now we're seeing far fewer claims get submitted, which is good, and we have more tools in place to be able to prevent fraud. The other so right now, I'd just say contact us, let us know. There is information available. I'm going to check and see if we do have a fraud one-pager, and if not, we'll put it up on the website, and that will give basically the info that I've sent out to people. Here's what you do if this happens. Here's how you check your credit or put a freeze on your credit so people can't open an account. This happened to me, as I said before, and I had forgotten that, and I had to open a school loan for my son, and I got a notice that they couldn't process my credit because there was a freeze in place. And that's good. I put that freeze there after somebody filed a claim in my name. So we know that the system works. You just have to make sure you take those steps.
Yeah, Matt, on that, before you get to the next things,
Sure.
I just want to reinforce with the people that are watching this, and please share this out. Share it out on your Facebook. The more people who hear what Matt just said there, the more problems that are going to be solved out there. But you know, this is tough enough time as it is with the health issues, the economic issues that you're helping people work through, and we are, as well as the rest of the the administration. But that's the last thing people need right now is is to have their identity stolen. And then there's other problems that can have. It's not just unemployment claims. There's other credit issues that could cause problems. So in some ways, this is a red flag to everybody out there. If you get a letter, your security information has been compromised, and there's processes that you need to do to protect yourself. So in many ways, this is a red flag for you. And take advantage of it because you can solve many problems that could come down the line by being proactive on it, Matt.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing you can do is let us know right away, and let's try to figure out how to help you, but also how to prevent cases. And the reason we train the system is to prevent cases like this from even getting in to begin with. So the biggest thing is communicate, let us know, let us help you, and hopefully let us serve the people that need to be served.
Yeah.
In that light, 81,084 people requested payments last week, Governor. So that's still a lot of people. You know, we're pretty busy, but right now things seem to be going fairly well. We're serving well over 1,000 a day on the phone. I do know that a lot of people are getting through because by the time I'm able to check back in with them, they say, actually, I already spoke with somebody, and I can see it if my staff members put in the system when they speak with someone. I can see that it happened. So that's a good thing. So I urge everyone, your first step when you have a problem with unemployment, if it's not an incredibly complicated problem, call 415-6772. Speak to an agent. Try again. Try multiple times. And I think I gave this tip last week. Try late in the afternoon. Sometimes that's the best time to get through. We are open 6 days a week on the phone. I would try and get through as much as you can. Otherwise, email ltgov20@gmail. And the governor's office is very good about reaching out to me to let me know that we need to help somebody out, and we do the best we can. Otherwise, I think we're all status quo right now. Happy to take questions.
Yeah, Ben, is there anything that has come up? Otherwise, we'll kind of keep on moving on. But again,
right.
Matt, again, thank to you and your staff, by the way.
Of course.
Just another thank you. Ben.
Absolutely. So Matt, the only question that I have comes from Lori, who is backstage, Lori from Visual Thrive, who said that she also got a letter sent to her house that said that a person in her home, she's the only person that lived there, and the name was Winston-Salem. So what do you do in that circumstance?
Let's see. Winston-Salem is a town or an area and region in North Carolina. It's also a cigarette company, I think. So, that's with a case like that, what I would urge someone to do is to reach out to us. Lori, if you have my email, go through that. If not, the ltgov20@gmail. And what I'll do is just ask if you can take a picture of the envelope and send it over to me. I will send that to our file with the state police, and it just helps them in their investigation. Otherwise, there's no reason to return that to us or to get it to us. Just send me a picture if you don't mind.
Yeah, Matt, that's great advice. And again, I'll just reinforce what I did with Secretary Pryor to the people who are watching this. Share this out, share this program out, and don't hesitate. Matt is very, very accessible. as other people are in terms of what, us working through this health crisis. But they've always been. So this notion that somehow that we're not approachable, Matt, I think that we're pushing back pretty hard on that. So encourage people to make that connection, make your life a little easier in terms of getting on the right track if you need some help. So and the fraud issue is, as we're seeing, is a front and center issue right now with people. What is their expectation? Have you had any? When people get it, are they expecting that people just don't open up their mail, or they just throw it away? What is the what?
No, I think, I'm not an expert in this. I can tell you what I've learned from the national discussion. It's a very well organized scheme where what they do is submit the claim, put it in your name, put it with your address, so it's all legit. Sometimes they go to other addresses and they just pick an address, like Lori's suggesting here in the chat, where she got one in somebody else's name. But the key is to get it in, to know when to use the system, and to try to get at least one payment out of the system. And what they do is direct the money to internet banks that they set up. The internet banks have much looser regulations about how they can, someone can set up an account. And so they don't have to necessarily show ID or prove who they are. So they're able to do that. And if they can get one hit out of every so many claims, that's a success in their book. Yeah. And it also makes it very difficult for the investigators.
Yeah, so that thanks for making that point, is that they're not expecting the checks to go directly to the individual somehow. They're expecting to reroute that into their accounts and bypass the individual once they get to activate the system. So that's why let's act on it very quickly. To make sure that we're protecting the people in the state of Rhode Island. They don't need another aggravation. We've got enough challenges as it is, Matt. So thanks again to you and your staff. And
thank you.
Liz is not on today because she's working on some other things, but the mask. Thanks, Matt.
That's right.
On with the mask. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, Ben, let's go, to our, what's left of our three amigos. I don't know how Chris is feeling today, and there's Lori here, and Lori is holding down the fort.
Just Lori.
Just Lori.
Just
well, that's
Lori.
Just Lori. Well, that's good to have you here, Lori.
It's amazing to have you, Lori. Yeah, and we want to say get better to Chris, who's not feeling well and is home resting right now. So this is the first one Chris has missed, and good luck and feel better, Chris.
Yeah, we got to remember Chris and Laurie, and then Justin. Of course, Justin is still, battling it out, trying to reopen his business where he had a little electrical mishap, a few weeks back. So
he's shifting his whole business model now.
Yes, yeah, I know. He's got a lot of stick to this. That's what the Walt Disney five things in Walt Disney said, but one of them is sticking to it, and that's what he has. Yes, stick to it.
You got to, especially now. I think, so here's my Winston-Salem notification. That was exciting. I appreciate Matt's insight on that because, it's quite worrisome, I think, to get that. And I really loved that the Secretary Pryor went through being sure to let everybody know that the coalition, of course, is supporting this idea of communicating out that the state has $50 million to give, and that he, kind of talked about how they're going to push the money out into the community. I think that that's hugely important. And on our morning show, we mentioned that as well.
Yeah. So Lori, the 50 million, let's get the 50 million out, and I've been in our Take It Outside tour, whether we go into a small business in Burrillville or Warren or where we'll be in North Smithfield today. I think East Providence before the end of the week. I was with the mayor of Woonsocket today at that opening. I was very proud to be at an opening of the Boys and Girls Club, the groundbreaking up in Woonsocket. It just happens that it's in the former business, the small business the building that I ran, the small business in Woonsocket, a health club that kind of ran its course after 35 years. And the building we sold the building, and now the Boys and Girls Club has come in and bought the building from the people who bought it from us.
Oh, now that's fantastic.
Yeah, and they're going to open up this wonderful facility up there in a time when you need some positive news. So it's a positive place for young people to go to.
Yeah.
And that I'm really, adamant about and very, very strongly advocating for education opportunities because of the lost time in the schools right now. So that's
Right.
going to be a big plus to Woonsocket. And I was with Mayor Bovadelli Hunt, who's been a great supporter of the small businesses and the Boys and Girls Club work. But when we go out to these Take It Outside tours, and we'll be in Woonsocket in a few weeks,
Mhm.
we got to let people know about this loan. The $50 million are there. And if somebody said, oh, well, it seems like it's a lot of work to get, $2,500 or $5,000. No, you got to do it. We need to get that money out so that we can start advocating for more, right? Because we
And
know
it
that the world is very difficult. I would just say that I sensed a great deal of tension and anxiety on Monday's call.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely, definitely. I sense, I mean, we sense it in our own company. And I think that, just the timing, the election, everyone feels like they're just really hunkering down, but it's really that stick to itness that everybody really needs to have at this point, because that is what's going to get us over the hump. And what I think we came around to at the RI Small Business Coalition meeting yesterday was the fact that cash is really the thing that is needed to purchase whatever supplies the business needs, to maintain paying the rent, to allow companies to get the technology or heating systems that they might need. So, we see markets are shifting for sure. And so it was interesting for me to come around to that notion that it really does come down to making sure that the businesses get infused with finances to maintain where they are.
Yeah, so we've encouraged many businesses to go to rismallbusiness.org, which links in your buy local campaign that's coming out of Visual Thrive. It also links in with Commerce and many of the other groups that we've had on this program that are there to support small businesses. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to get that information out. And I'm anxious to see, what are we going to do to get those grants out? That's something that is like top priority in my mind right now, Laurie. So, what is your thinking on that? I know we've had a short time to think of it, but within the next week, we got to come up with a campaign of some sort.
I think that as the coalition spoke yesterday, we kind of created two things: a list of locations or groups that need to pass this information onto their networks. So the chambers, the General Assembly, we're going to send a letter to the governor. We're going to go to the resource centers. So we really want to make sure that as many organizations and businesses start to share this information on the rismallbusiness.org. They have a newsletter. So I really encourage anyone to sign up for that newsletter, because eventually, once we have always said that 50 million isn't enough. So let's just start there. But we got to get the 50 million out. And so once we get that going and moving, we can move on to now what are the next priorities for the business. And as a business person and whoever is listening, I think it's really important to sign up for the rismallbusiness.org coalition. And be sure that you have your voice heard, because we want to create this idea of being an actual coalition that says these are the exact issues that small businesses are dealing with. And these are the things that we need to not only survive, but to thrive in the Rhode Island community. So we know that we're just going to start pushing it out. Social media, newsletters, we're going to create little marketing packages. So if you want to put things on social media, here's what you need. If you want to send a letter to people that are in your newsletter, this is what you need. If you want to put information up on your website, here's a couple paragraphs of what you need to post, so that we can make it as easy as possible for anybody to share the information. And I think that we're gonna agree and finalize that at our next week meeting on Monday, and we'll be able to begin delivering it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important, how we do it, and then encourage others to do the same thing. As you said, different organizations that we've been involved in, because I mean, there's well over 2,000 small businesses that have signed up for the coalition. We had over 5,000 supporters of small businesses sign up for the petition to get, to ask for the 125 million, 50 million's out there on the first phase. These small businesses, as I said, and having experienced, Laurie, what you're going through right now as a small business owner, and the stress and the pressure that's there. Many businesses are so, they're paralyzed to a certain degree. We need to encourage them to really, get this out there. It's going to help their business, any funds that they get, and it's going to help the small businesses in total in the state of Rhode Island. I can tell you, I was at one meeting last week on the Take It Outside tour. We were at a coffee shop in Johnston, and we were sitting outside, and I was talking to 2 or 3 businesses there. And then somebody came up on a motorcycle and said, "Hey, I understand you're helping out the small business. I got a small business too." And then he rattled it off. He's down 90% on his small business. And what is he going to do? And, he had a good attitude about it. But the fact of the matter is, and then the individual that I was talking to had a scrapyard type of an operation. And their business is down as well. And you can just sense the stress that's going on there right now. So we need to kind of figure out how to address that as well.
And businesses get into this catch-22 because a lot of the businesses have reduced their staff. And then when you apply for the grant, that reduction of non-full-time workers isn't included as an employee. They're included as a half employee. So now it takes 2 people. So the businesses get into a catch-22 because they're not paying their people at full-time rates, and then they're not getting the money back at full-time rates. So it's kind of keeping everything steady. But again, it goes back to 50 million needs to get out and support the businesses, and it's still not going to be enough.
So I'm looking forward to really, zeroing in on marketing strategy, getting out. The coalition was very fortunate to have, TV coverage early on, billboards early on. It's created a high level of awareness. We got to figure out a way to kind of regenerate that to get the $50 million out.
I like the billboard. I like the billboard approach. The state has $50 million to give you. Grab it. And it's going to help everyone. It's not a hard process.
No, and we can help assist you through it if you're a small business that is trying to figure it out. We can certainly we have people, members of our coalition, that would help out, and we have and then there's professionals that the state has that can help out as well. So
absolutely,
let's get the $50 million out. And I tell you, that's the top priority. I know there's other things that we talked about, but we need to, start listing out what other, and start investigating what other communities are doing to help our small businesses. What are the other states are doing federally? What do we need to be talking to our congressional leadership on? We just got to keep the full court press on, Laurie.
Yep. We're there. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do. And again, the Small Business Coalition meets together every Monday at 11 o'clock. And if you're interested, sign up. You'll get the information in a newsletter to link into our Zoom call. It's really important. I mean, if you're a small business, you want to be there.
Yeah, and the last thing on the $50 million, I'll say, and then maybe I got a couple more questions before you take off. We got a couple businesses coming on that are, going to be able to, really reinforce the messages that the coalition and your leadership, along with Chris and Justin, have provided the state, Laurie. But the $50 million, even if you're qualifying for 2,000, 2,500, 5,000, the cap is 15,000, and it takes you, do the math. If it takes you 3 or 4 hours to get through the process, and you're able to earn $500 to $1,000 an hour for that work. I've always said, when I was getting priorities in my business about where I would spend my time, and if I could turn something that that would help the business and pay $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $200 an hour, I'm going to go do that as opposed to
Yeah.
spending time that's not doing that. So it's very productive time. And the last thing I'll say on that, Lori, and please weigh in, is that those dollars are grants. They're not loans. And so when you think about a $4,000 or $5,000 grant, how much business do you have to do to create clear $4,000 or $5,000 over your cost and your overhead?
Yeah, it makes me think about, so if you're working and you have a 401k and your employer matches you to a certain extent, you're getting this free money. And so if there's an opportunity to get free money to lift you up, to sustain you in any way, I mean, it's really a good thing. And this is not about receiving a handout. This is not about, oh, we shouldn't be taking the money. This is about keeping families and businesses in Rhode Island and safe and secure here in the state. I mean, this is, I'm thinking about the mindset of why someone doesn't do it. But the reality is we are in a crisis that we have not seen before. And there's help.
Yeah, we're going to keep the conversation going. I've been doing quite a bit of reading and research trying to find out what's going on. But, we have a number of small businesses that are nationally and in state of Rhode Island who have closed. Yeah. And we need to, we need to really work very hard right now to save as many of the businesses that are in that space, that we're clearly in the middle of the table safety-wise when this COVID hit, but they drifted closer and closer to the edge, and many of them are holding on by their fingernails. We got to make sure that we're doing everything we can, Lori. So thanks for your help, and we'll just keep on plugging along. There you go.
That's what we got to do. Stick to itness.
Yes, that's right. I'll get you Walt Disney's 5 premises of the success theory that he had that I thought was pretty good. But anyways, Ben, we got a couple guests coming on. Bring them on, please. Ted from Cumberland, my hometown. 2 thumbs up, Ted. Got the Cumberland going on. And Denise out there in, is it Warwick, Denise, that you're in?
Yes.
Yes, Denise. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Scissors Hair Salon. And then, along with, we got something coming up, Ben? You got something coming up? Oh, no. Okay.
We do. Yep. We have a video and,
oh, you do? Because I thought you had Denise's video that was with the health department, right?
Yes, I do.
See whether we can bring that up, which is featuring Denise's shop, and then we want to get in with Ted and Denise about their particular, challenges that they're having in their business and their community.
And Ted and Denise, we're having a little bit of feedback on one of your channels, so if you guys could just mute yourselves when you're not talking, and then unmute yourselves when you are. It's just a little button down there at the bottom.
So I had an older gentleman stand at my desk, and he looked at my antibacterial and he asked me where I got it. And I told him I bought it at the market. He's like, well, you can't find this. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, the virus. I said, oh, stop the virus. I didn't really make a big deal about it. 1 week later, I had a waiting room full of people on a Saturday. It was weird. You knew something was on people's minds. My name is Denise Barra. My business is Scissors Hair Salon, and I am the sole proprietor, owner, and stylist. And it's located in the Coesit section of Warwick on Post Road. Scissors, it's a salon for men. I have been cutting men's hair for years. I've been here 10 years. I opened last month. It would have been my 10-year anniversary. Every small business is struggling. Corona is not the first setback I've had. I had a salon before. I was on Bolter Road in Warwick, and I was there for 2.5 years, and the flood of 2010 took my business. Corona is trying to take my second business.
Denise, thank you for sharing that, and and thank you for contacting our office. And I was happy to kind of get back to you. I just want to, let people know when they do contact our office, we make every effort to answer their questions and get back to them. But Denise, give us a little overview of your business and the challenges that you're having, and just give us an overview on what you shared with me the other day, Denise.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, really, from the bottom of my heart, that was very nice of you to respond. My business it means the world to me, and it's so difficult to try and be successful with the guidelines. And as much as the CARES Act money is now becoming available to us, which I will look into, I feel that unless the confidence is instilled in customers to come back out, it's inevitable that more and more businesses are going to close repeatedly on a daily and weekly basis. There are people who just want the old way to come back. And my business has suffered because it was a walk-in salon. Now it's appointments. That shouldn't be a big deal, but it's a big deal.
So because what we're trying to do is listen to the small businesses, Denise, and to respond and to see whether there are ways to accommodate, create the flexibility. We did that with a number of the restaurants early on. We did it with a number of garden shops when we were around Easter, Mother's Day. We need to hear the story. So if you were at a walk-in strategy that we were allowed, would that help your business?
Absolutely. I built the business solely on walk-in service. Men love walk-ins. They don't want to take the time to book an appointment. They don't know what their schedules are like. It was very successful. I have taken precautions for the last 10 years on safety measures and sterilization. It's part of our business. I work independently, alone, so I don't have to have stations spread out. And I like the mask. So the mask, the cleaning, let it all stay.
Get the mask.
Yeah. And businesses, I think, have suffered enough over the last many months. We want good feedback from our inspections, and we know what to do to make money. And I think if each business was handled on an individual scenario, one size doesn't fit all. So let us at least have a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, and that flexibility of a walk-in strategy for your business is going to help you. So I want to follow up with you on that and kind of get a little bit more of the pros and cons to that under the current circumstances to see whether we can defend a case like that, Denise. And we want to do that one at a time. I mean, we were talking to a crane operator earlier in the week, and we're trying to get him the permits so that he can travel our roads in a way that accommodates his business and keeps his safety out there. So we're willing to go after these. So we're going to follow up with you on that, on the walk-in strategy. And I'm not worried about, we're not ready about the ripples that, oh my God, he's talking about maybe changing, talking about doing a walk-in strategy for Denise and other places. No, we should be talking about that until we come to an answer. It may be that we can't do it because of good reasons, but we may be saying, oh, Denise could control that in a way that makes sense, right? And keep her business alive. So Denise, thank you for being here. Stick around a little bit. We may have a couple minutes to kind of follow up, but I really appreciate you sharing your video, talking to me the other day, and then responding to our office to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yeah. Ted, you got a couple businesses going on, and you represent a couple different scenarios, right? You've got a construction business a related business that is doing business, and you've got a dance theater that is, down substantially, and how you're going to keep, that afloat. So give us a little overview on both of them, because we really want to be, where there is, an economy that is continuing in a favorable way. We want to recognize that. We don't want to be all doom and gloom, but where there's a need to kind of fill in the blanks to kind of save as many businesses as we can, keeping safety in mind. We want to do that too. So Ted, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, we have two businesses in our family, and one of them is a truck repair business, and it's been very, very, it was deemed essential. I haven't missed a day of work personally at the truck repair business, and it's kind of on one end of the spectrum, but the dance studio is really on the other end of the spectrum, because it's entering its 32nd year, and we were forced to close for about 92 days. And when you're not generating any sort of revenue, and of course, your rent and other expenses are continuing, whether or not you have class or students or clients, that adds up, and that puts you, in a low to no profit business. That puts you behind a hole that sometimes you can't make up. It might take you months to make that up. So with the thankfully our landlord has been understanding, but to go forward with this in limbo, that at any given time we could lose our studio, puts us in a very precarious position, and it's very difficult to even discuss because there's no stability going forward.
Yeah, and Ted, I think I shared with you when I talked to you on the phone the other day that we're doing this Take It Outside tour of businesses and different communities. We were in Warren the other day. A similar related type business. It wasn't dance, but it was in the art area, which was an art studio where you had a young lady that her business was to teach young kids art in art classes, and they're down 75%. They have 48 students, I recall, and now they're around 12, and because of even the social distancing of the tables and that type of thing. But do you have any, are there any thoughts in terms of, besides the fact that we need to get you the grant dollars, we need to make sure that we get that $50 million out on the table, to all these businesses, and I want to see all 39 cities and towns, small business benefit from that. But talk about your dance studio business, the dance theater business, and who the customer base is, and how you might be pivoting in terms of ways that you can control your cost, or stay alive, keep the doors open, so that when this pandemic or this health crisis passes, that you'll be standing. You'll be one of those small businesses that are standing.
Well, it's very difficult, but we've kind of pivoted into following the guidelines from the state, and we have probably about 35 to 40% returning students in the new season. There are a lot that want to come back, but they're either looking for specific classes like we used to have. For example, you have an acrobatics class or a jazz class, not to get too much into the dance world, but we can't do that anymore. We have to have, stable pods or stable groups that come in and remain in the under 15 for phase 3. And, that limits us to what we can offer. So some of our clients are, they're not maybe buying into that. They don't feel it's safe. All of the small businesses have invested thousands of dollars into becoming compliant, and doing these things, making these changes, putting signs out. We provide our students with masks. We have all the folders, we have the COVID plan laid out, and we basically are doing everything we can, but to some people, they're just not ready to come back. And it's hard to convince them to come back when, we're stuck in phase 3, or that, a lot of our businesses traveling in competition. And right now, the only state that we can compete in is Rhode Island, and New Hampshire has lifted the restrictions. So going forward, it's very hard for our competitive team, which is the bulk of our client. We want to go out and show the world what we can do. We can't do that right now. It's very difficult to have a goal set in the future, and we always have been able to work towards something. And unfortunately now everything is kind of on pause. Competitions are not having events. Some of the things I think can be done is the restrictions can be loosened on traveling. Travel, for example, we're not allowed to enter Massachusetts to compete right now, but we could go to a hotel in Mass, compete, and come home. They won't allow us to do that. So it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, it's a catch-22, Ted. I mean, as we've been talking about the health issues, the mask issues, and that type of thing, there are guidelines that are being followed in terms of infection rates and that. we gotta do everything we can to really focus on curbing those infection rates and following the lead of the professionals and the doctors, Dr. Scott in Rhode Island, because that's what's going to allow us to go to Massachusetts or us to go here or go there. So it's a catch-22. There's a reluctance in some, and then some, some communities of people that said, "Oh, we don't have to follow that. We don't have to follow it." But you just heard from Ted that his business is being restricted because we're being restricted because we're not, we're kind of on a borderline in terms of infection rates. We need to, talk to people, get them to encourage them, even those who don't particularly feel as though that it's necessary to be wearing masks, washing hands, and that type of thing. We got to tell them, hey, Ted's business is going to rely on that. Denise's business is going to rely on that. We need to make sure that we understand that we're doing more than just keeping the next person next to us safe. We are creating by creating a safety strategy and knocking that out of the park, we're giving confidence to the general public to do businesses out of places, right? So it's a process, but I want to just thank you for both being here today. Denise, I'm going to follow up with you. I got a couple thoughts on this walk-in thing that I want to follow up with you on. All right. And Ted, let's stay in shape. Can talk to each other. I know we all have social media outlets. Ted, I know that you have a strong social media outlet. Let's get the message out on the $50 million. We got to get these applications out. I think it's a responsibility of every small business out there that currently qualifies to actually make that application. I think that we all have these social responsibilities. When I was a mayor, I would say to people that we have this responsibility and education in our community. We need to follow through on this. So I would say to all the small businesses out there, apply for the grants. The ones who don't qualify, let us know. We will lobby on your behalf. We will open up that door for you, but we need to get that $50 million out. We fully intend to ask for another $75 million on top of it, and we're going to need that in the last quarter, early first quarter of next year. So thank you for both of you being here. We'll follow up with you, and I appreciate it very much. 2 thumbs up. Keep the mask. Keep wearing the mask. Keep out supporting our small businesses. Talk to you soon. Yeah, so I thank you. And we are a couple minutes over, but that was very important for you to hear those small business stories. They are going through a very difficult time. They're going through hell. And unless you've gone through their experience, as I have, during economic downturns, whether it was the banking crisis or the internet bubble after 9/11 or the real estate crisis, a decade ago, you're hearing from these businesses. They have a great deal of persistence, stick-to-itivity, which is the Walt Disney line. Look it up. He was a remarkable entrepreneur in his own right. A lot to be learned there. So let's make sure we get the $50 million out. If you know a small business, you own a small business, you qualify, get the application in. We can help you make that happen. There's no reason that we're stuck on 1,000 small businesses right now that the secretary talked about. We should be servicing 10,000 businesses with small businesses with that 50 million, and then the next 75 million that we'll be asking for. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Join us on the community conversation tomorrow night. There's a lot going on besides the small businesses. We just dedicated a Beirut monument that you really need to hear about. 9 Marines died in 1983, October 23rd, in Beirut. The first terrorist attack on our country on record, and they just dedicated this unbelievable monument to those brave men who served our country and protected our freedom. And I was fortunate, our office was fortunate enough to participate and be a strong supporter of that. And we're going to give an overview of that. And then we have this International Economic Ambassador Program we launched, of all things, in January after working on it for about a year. We expected people to be traveling internationally prior to COVID. That's not happening, but we are doing virtual meetings and visits all over the world. And we're going to have Israel and representatives from Israel and from the Hispanic Chamber who have partnered together in this very unique program to help our small businesses. So tune in to the community conversation, and we'll see you next week on the Small Business Virtual Town Hall. Thank you so much for joining. Share, and stay safe. And we'll